Basically, Jerry's living out like my worst nightmare, but making it this really fun, fucked up joke. So it becomes tolerable.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Feeling Seen, the podcast that talks about the characters that make us feel seen. And today, my co-host is a professional in the arena of microphones, podcast, storytelling, comedy. You might have caught a little bit of her storytelling on The Moth, which I have been enjoying in the lead up to this conversation. You could have listened to her podcast, How to Be Fine, with previous guest, Kristen Meinzer. You could have listened to her podcast, By the Book, or you could be listening to her current effort, Hot Masterpiece Theater, which is a podcast that talks about, it's more than just talking about reality television. There are many like after-watch programs. It gets more further into the fabric of the material than that. Or the narrative podcast Romance Road Test. Jolenta Greenberg, what else do the people need to know about you before we get started? I feel like you're one of those professionals to where there could be a million irons in the fire at any moment. You could have had 1,000 things where you're like, well, I'm not really talking about that now, and this is at the forefront. So what more do we need for an establishing section?
I mean, I think you did a very extensive introduction that covered most everything. Great. Much.
You have had, notably for myself, you have interviewed the Countess Luann de Lesseps on,
oh my gosh,
in
yes.
an installment of By the Book, and that's super exciting. That's just,
it was
I'm
awesome.
not reality TV has never really had it. There's sporadic things over the years. One of the things that I have engaged with most, I've fallen off. I'm certainly not current with it, but when Real Housewives of New York premiered, me and my roommate at the time, my best friend back in San Francisco, were so locked in to that show. And even never having watched any of the other Housewives, I live with the conviction that New York is the best of the franchise.
It's really, really good. The original New York, they've done sort of a shakeup and they recast it. But they call it Legacy. Legacy New York is so good. It's up there with just like, it's just sort of perfect reality TV. The women, most of them actually knew each other outside of being cast. A lot of them were really rich. It was like really good aspirational living viewing.
It felt like the platonic, to me, the platonic ideal of what the franchise, which is why I kind of never found myself interested in the other ones, because obviously Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, like that's an original, like that, right. that's an oldie as well. But like it felt like those two formats felt like New York wasn't doing Beverly Hills because New York is there's a reason you do New York when you already have Beverly Hills. It's like the spiritual inverse of a Southern California, Orange County existence. Beverly Hills is obviously Manhattan, so you got to have the complement. So it felt like you had the poles in there, and then obviously different cities, different vibes. But it kind of feels like once you start franchising out, like by the third, fourth, fifth thing, it's like, oh, now we have a formula. Now we have a real blueprint that like we need to model it off the thing we're doing here. And this was New York was in before it was a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. And all due respect to the various housewives across this nation who have populated our screens.
Right. But the ones you're talking about, New York and Beverly Hills, sort of like set the formula. They're the ones that help us realize, oh, if people have an actual friendship history and actually run in the same circles, it really works well. Or in Beverly Hills, we had sisters feuding over like years worth of history, and like sisters that were also child stars. So, and that's when we learn like, oh, family dynamics are fascinating and like so gritty. And they sort of set these standards that now they sort of try to plug in to other cities with.
And there was some like because it was early, it was the pioneering stuff of the format. Watching New York early on, I forget her husband's name, but that woman Alex and her husband.
Alex McCord, yeah.
Two of the sincerely strangest people I think have ever been captured on. And like, not because they're playing a part strange, because people weren't playing parts for reality television then the way they were now. They might be playing it for the camera, but it wasn't like a career track necessarily that you could be like, I plan to be a reality television professional in perpetuity, and that's going to be my profession.
Right.
Alec, they were, and Kelly Ben Simone.
Oof, Kelly Ben-Simone, another one.
You're ruining my whole
sorry.
tattoo.
I'm
Look,
very
look at my whole
sorry about
tattoo.
your tattoo.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Because you're being weird. People are not going to want to hang out with you if you're going to be weird like
I
this.
am not being
I don't want to
weird,
hang out with you
and
now.
I am
You
sorry.
ruined my tattoo.
I am sorry about your tattoo.
You're weird. It's not normal behavior.
I'm sorry about your tattoo, genuinely.
No, it's not about my tattoo. It's about the whole
Clearly,
thing.
it was about your tattoo, and
Listen,
I'm sorry.
if you know who needs you right now, Ramona, not my tattoo. It's weird. It's just weird.
What the hell are you talking about, Kelly?
You guys are weird.
Like, Kelly Ben-Simone is another sincere oddity of humanity that got captured on camera in a way that, not to say that there isn't more sincere oddity now, but in a fresh way where it was new to us that people could be this way while being captured.
Yeah, it wasn't really manufactured or like thought out the way you'll often see housewives now be like, I'm kooky. It's just, no, Kelly Ben-Simone was gonna run in the middle of the street in Manhattan barefoot, and
they were gonna be
act like it was
on
a
the
normal
Housewives
run.
trip, and she was gonna say, I'm alone on Scary Island. And she was alone on Scary Island.
Yeah, they are these sort of rare birds that we were like so lucky to have captured on camera almost.
Well, obviously we're going to get to your character stuff, but I do, before we get quite there, because you are clearly an expert in the field, which makes you a really kind of anthropologist. John Lovett, actually, of like Crooked Network, Love It or Leave It, Pods of America, he's starting another pod on the Crooked Network that is entirely about reality television.
Yeah,
because,
I saw a clip of that with him interviewing Terry Dubrow.
Yeah, and his assertion is that we cannot, and I get where he's coming from, we cannot actually understand the dynamics of how we are watching politics play out now without understanding how reality television has gotten us to this moment and how it exists in this moment. Because we have a reality TV president,
exactly.
And so much of the job of these elected people seems to be taking more cues from reality television and also professional wrestling.
Yeah,
than it
these
does
sort of like shock and awe, outrage tactics.
Yeah, the
like,
fucking kayfabe, like going from the top rope, like with somebody who knows exactly what you're going to do and they're bracing for it. Like it is. So as the scholar that you are of the reality subset of culture, how do you feel about, like, where do you find intersecting points, or if you do, perhaps, I don't want to lead the question, of like, damn, like, why is there, or what is the crossover between what you see in the state of completely degraded American political operation and the reality television that you know so much about?
Well, I definitely think reality television, to its own detriment, celebrates radical individualism, like almost like it's all on the same plane. Like all radical individualism is seen equally often on reality
Which
TV.
really sands the edge of radicality off of it, and yet it is still, they're all mavericks. Everyone's a maverick.
Right. And so this sort of radicalized individuality that we think is sort of funny and entertaining when it's throwing a drink in someone's face.
Yeah.
Starts to be like terrifying when it's running your country and your immigration policies.
It really, gosh, it's like, well, I guess things have consequences. Like,
right, and it's like
this industrial complex of entertainment got really big.
We can all be mad at Mark Burnett for starting this monster, but like we perpetuated it.
But we can also oddly be mad at Survivor for it too. Because they really, doors were opened, and it's the basement, it's the subterranean area in Cabin in the Woods, and the monsters are out, and
exactly,
they weren't going to stay contained forever.
Yep, it's like we let them all out. They can't go back in.
Okay, well, this is one of the most exciting character choices that anybody has brought to discuss on this show.
Oh my gosh!
I would say.
Whoa.
I mean, what it could or could not mean. Please tell us who you have brought for us to discuss today.
I brought Jerry Blank from the Strangers with Candy film and television show.
This would be my advice. Stimulate him. Take him back to that magical time when life was good and precious and worth being conscious for. When you were still his little girl.
That's it!
hesitant to ask.
I'm picking my life up exactly where I left off. I'm going to go back to high school and be the good girl I never was or had any desire to be. Maybe that'll help save my daddy.
Well, it's a start, Jerry. But you have to do better than good. You can't reverse 32 years of depravity in a single day. You have to put some effort into it. We call it balancing the psychic equation.
Who's we?
You know, the people in my carpool.
So I guess I have to start by saying, are you now or have you ever been a 46-year-old high school freshman?
I haven't, but I felt like one. I was talking to my partner and I was like, how do I explain that? Like, I felt like an out of place old person being forced to go back to school the first time. And he's like, well, that's it. That's your reason.
So now, did you grow up on Strangers with Candy? Is this something that you had in real time in the late 90s?
I didn't quite have it in real time. I came to it in DVD form in high school right after it got canceled.
Okay. So still about the time, though. Still
like early 2000s. Like 2002 is when I probably came in contact with it.
I remember even watching it, like, at the time, because I'd be, like, 14-ish when I start watching this, 14, 15. It was, like, even if it isn't as, like, jarring the way it is now, it was still, like, shocking.
Oh, yeah.
When I was young, to tuck into this thing and be like, it made me so uncomfortable.
It made
me so fucking uncomfortable, but I couldn't stop watching.
Right. It's one of those where I saw one episode and I was like, what the fuck am I watching? Like, what the hell is this? Ew. Like, what? Ew.
In the first episode, everybody, we meet Amy Sedaris as Jerry Blank, the 46-year-old high school freshman who for 32 years has been a teenage runaway.
She was a boozer, a user, and a loser. And she is returning to high school, living with her father, who is catatonic. In a coma-ish, yeah.
But like absolutely interactive, but constantly only frozen in place to us, the viewer.
Right.
And her stepmom. And in the first episode, Jerry makes drugs for and kills another student and completely gets away with it. And we like end as we do in a Stranger with the Candy episode of her like sitting on her bed at the end of the day, like in rollers, about ready to go to sleep, talking about, well, I learned a lot today. And it's just like, Poppy's dead. Poppy's dead.
Yeah, and, like, she learned go with what you know, even if it kills someone.
Well, with the exception of Shelley and Poppy Downs, everything turned out to be pretty okay. They never did find out who killed Poppy, so I guess justice was served. I also realized that this second time through high school, I'm a little bit wiser. Oh, I'm still doing the wrong things, but at least I'm doing them the right way.
That's her lesson. It's this like really dark funhouse mirror version of an after school special. Where you're learning all the wrong lessons and getting away with all the horrible things. And like you said, when I first saw it, I was like kind of horrified, but then I couldn't stop thinking about it. And it just like, it sort of burrows its way, or at least it did at the time, burrowed its way like into my brain. And I was like, I need to see more of the stupid shit they do.
It feels like, okay, people have been very animated in a very negative way about you can't say anything anymore, you can't do anything anymore.
Right.
And I watch, and it's A, it's not true. But B, you watch things from, you think of like these comedy things from that. There's like, you get to, I think it's episode 3. The entire episode revolves around Jerry being tasked with Stephen Colbert, her teacher, Mr. Noblet.
Chuck Noblet.
He tasks Jerry with narking on the only person who's nice to her. Since she, like, especially since she got her braces. The only person who's nice to her, because they need to find out if she is, I don't like to say it, it's the R word. But the entire episode revolves around this. And I wasn't feeling scandalized by it. I just feel like, what do you think about, like, those less PC times and the times that are perhaps more surveilled now, but then they're broken down and we demand less surveillance but in bad faith because it's selective surveillance. Like, what do you think? Where are you at with this?
I'm at like, personally, I only touch things I have experience with.
For sure.
I feel like that's like my good rule of thumb, where it's like, if you have experience with it, you can go to town on it, and like it can be a bit more risque, a bit more offensive. So I do struggle with some of the like really racist, really un-PC things about this show. But
first episode, she's like talking to her only friend and just like straight up does a racist caricature to his face and walks away from him.
And it's still like it's in the movie. It's in the movie where she does like her like horrible, quote, Chinaman impression. And like it's just it's awful. It's awful, but it also, is this sort of irreverent look at it is poking fun at the people who do use that language more seriously.
Yeah, like Jerry's not our hero.
No,
Jerry's
and it's
our
like
anti-hero.
we love Jerry for making all the wrong choices, and I feel like they did sort of set this up in a great way where they can play with these harder to touch issues from a place where they've sort of assured their audience, like, we know this is wrong because Jerry's endorsing it.
Yeah, if Jerry's doing it, it's a bad idea.
Okay, Mr. Blank, why don't you tell us something about yourself?
Oh, all right. Well, hello. Well, I'm Jerry Blank, and I'm an alcoholic. I'm also addicted to amphetamines as well as mainline narcotics. Some people say I have a sex addiction, but I think all those years of prostitution was just a means to feed my ravenous hunger for heroin. It's kind of like the chicken or the nugget. The point is, I'm addicted to gambling. Thank you. Oh, and my daddy's in a coma.
Okay, Jerry, you can have a seat.
Like, so you can explore all of these, the same way when, like, on the episode where they have the baby to learn how to be parents, where it's
Jerry
like,
becomes an abusive boyfriend in that episode.
And it's like, we're just exploring what happens when you make like every wrong move, including being really sexist or being really racist. And so it is an interesting way to explore it that does make you feel like a bit safer, even though it's still just like a product of the times where we were way more openly racist.
At what points were you feeling like a 46-year-old in your own high school experience? What was the clicking point with that?
I just felt, I think part of it is probably I was an only child, so I did most of my interacting with adult people. So there's always that, but I just felt like so out of place, and it almost felt like a punishment or like not that I'd done it before, but like maybe I had and I was just being punished and like had to do it again.
I'm afraid. What if the kids don't like me? What if I don't fit in?
What if? The first day of high school is always scary, Jerry, especially the second time around. Just be yourself, and if things don't work out, we'll know where the problem lies.
Basically, Jerry's living out like my worst nightmare, but making it this really fun, fucked up joke. So it becomes tolerable.
It is. It's so interesting to like. The things that this show does. I mean, on the back of Amy Sedaris's insane, incredible performance. Like, Jerry is at once so wounded by the high school bullshit that she probably didn't like so much the first time around, and now 32 years later isn't doing much better with it, but like being ostracized, being outcast, not being the right kind of pretty kind of thing. But then like there are these like really like she does such an incredible job like jumping back and forth between these moments of vulnerability where you see her just wanting to be popular, but then being like, okay, it's the wake for the student that I killed with the drugs I made. Like, I'll be having a party at my house for Poppy. Can I get a show of hands of who would like to come? And like this almost like sociopathy that she has that doesn't come completely forsaking her ability to be hurt by like the simple scorns of high school politics.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you can feel above it and beyond it or outside of it, and yet still
fully affected
so
by
affecting.
It. Right, yeah.
Grayson, they kicked me off the team.
Didn't you hear, Jerry? Fat hips sink ships.
Monica, why can't we just be friends?
In what kind of mad fantasy world would someone like you and someone like me ever be friends?
Raisin, I just want you to know that I will never, ever be able to forgive you for what you did to me. So let's just put it behind us. New beginnings. I really need you to hold me right now.
Now, were you a letters kid? Were you a lit kid, a drama kid? You obviously come into the creative arts.
I was a bit of a drama kid, but my school was like a hardcore math and science school, so I just it was a bad fit.
Yeah.
I didn't show up much, so that became an issue. So you know, the issue, I've definitely felt forced to go to school, so I can. Not that Jerry was forced. She did opt in to going back to school.
She made the brave choice. She made the brave choice to come back.
Yeah, exactly. And just feeling sort of forced to be there. And I was always sort of negotiating, making things up and getting things to count I showed up. And it's just, I identified with feeling like a bit of an other. Granted, it wasn't because of my age or heavy drug use in the past.
When you do have the asides with Jerry, at the end of the show where she's processing the lesson she learned or did not learn, and it's because it's amazing what the makeup does. I watched this with my wife. She's never seen it, never heard of it.
Oh my gosh!
And I was like, just so you know, this is what Amy Sedaris looks like in real life. And she was like, how did they do that? And I was like, truly. I was like, well, her probably misaligning her own jaw by forcing that overbite the entire
that
show.
Crazy stuff she does with her mouth and makeup.
Yeah, and the bags they put in her, when she's all dressed down for bed, she's got a clean face because she's taken off her makeup, and you see kind of normal Amy Sedaris in there, and you're like, Jerry, go clean, girl.
Yeah, exactly.
You look good,
you
Jerry.
Look fresh. Yeah.
Well, how did you come to Strangers with Candy? It's such obviously it was a show that happened at the time, multiple seasons, but what led you to pick up those DVDs?
Well, it was probably, I would say, at my friend's house, who was she was sort of like the queen of the misfits, where
I was going to ask what the comp is, if you were with a group of people who would be Strangers with Candy people.
Right. We thought we were just the weird misfits. Turns out everyone thought we were the exclusive assholes. But it was a bunch of kids who like to go to raves or were queer or, we just weren't quite fitting in. We all started hanging out with our cool ringleader whose parents didn't care if we drank in their house.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Friend group gold mine on that one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Eventually her mom caught on and got really annoyed, but it lasted for at least 2 years. So.
Oh, wow. Oh,
yeah.
That's a
yeah.
Okay.
No, it was great. So I believe she had the DVD, the first season on DVD, and then I was hooked.
Mm-hmm. Now, watching it at the time, did that feel for you? Was it we get it? I get what's this is my kind of comedy, or was it whoa, this is kind of crazy for me, but I'm gonna push myself into it because I want to like this, because it is edgy, it is strange. These were the alt comics of the time. They created a style of comedy, but they shook things up. Like the Ass Pennies sketch watching Upright Citizens Brigade, that was not indicative of what you were watching on Saturday Night Live.
Right.
It is something that forced the tastes of comedy to evolve with this new school of performers. So did it feel like a natural fit for your humor, or was it I'm gonna push this because I want to be edgy in this case?
I think it felt like a natural fit because I liked how edgy they were with their words, but how they do stick to sort of classic, they have some just classic physical comedy bits.
Yeah.
And just sort of old school, almost vaudevillian,
Jerry's rotating cast of inappropriate pets.
Oh, yeah. And just
the lobster, Mr. Clausen, that lives in her locker. That is a live lobster. And she's walking down the home, and she you have Amy Sedaris opening the back of her shirt, scratching her own back with a lobster claw.
And her pet Shelly the turtle. Like I loved that kind of humor, like just silly, obvious, like ridiculous humor. And so I felt like it was sort of scratching an itch, but then also teaching me a bit about classical comedy. Like, you know, anytime they had to like use a calculator, they'd use like limp fingers and just look really stupid. And I'm
back
like,
of hand smashing
right.
on
And
it.
I'm like, oh, that's just like fun, unexpected physical bit that like I'm learning about comedy a little bit too. So I felt like it was sort of the best of both worlds, where it was teaching me stuff and shaping my taste, but also sort of, I feel like, speaking my language.
Well, we got to have Alan Tudyk on the show, and it was such an interesting conversation to
Oh my
talk.
gosh,
he
so
wanted.
jealous.
Oh God, it was amazing. It was amazing. You can find. He's wonderful.
He's one of my
favorite.
favorite Strangers with Candy guest stars. He has a 2-episode arc where he's a cult leader.
That's right.
Every morning, my children, after I float into your midst, it occurs to me that we thank God for this food. But do we ever ask ourselves why God? I have. And I'll tell you something, I can't think of one good reason, so from now on, we're going to be thanking me.
Thank you, Father.
It was so interesting talking to him about, because he wanted to talk about Young Frankenstein and how he really has kind of maintained throughout his career this very, like, I would say, like, kind of adherence to a classical style of comedy. He's just over the top. He does bits. He does voices. He does physical comedy. He does these things that kind of stretch throughout the DNA of comedy time that could play in a Mel Brooks movie, but that obviously keep him working constantly now. But, like, things like that, like the hand mashing on the calculator, like those brought, like, a turtle being golf balled out of a window and Jerry running through the pane of glass after it. Like, that is just comedy for the ages.
Right. That's just like, that's classic.
Yeah. And there was something I was wondering about with, for, like, you had your podcast series By the Book that you did, where it was like living by, you and Kristen both doing like living by advice from like self-help books, guidebook, things like that, as I understand it, and from what I listened to. As somebody who felt like akin to the 46-year-old high school freshman.
Yeah.
And was connecting with that outsider. It turns out we were the bitches all along kind of thing. But, like, what led you to, were you personally invested in advice, self-help, development books like that? Or was it like, this is an interesting, like, vehicle for conversation on the podcast? How did you come to that specific kind of literature?
Well, weirdly, it was partially because I was working in news, and one of my jobs was to get all the mail and go through all the books we got sent by publishers.
I remember interning at Rolling Stone. God, the volume of
it was a huge pain in the ass. Like, it was the worst part of my job, but I was also working like 100 jobs at that point. I was working in public radio. I was teaching theater to kids. I was working in a box office at a theater, you know. And so I knew no one gave a shit about the self-help books. So every once in a while, I just like pocket the ones that looked interesting. And then I just had this stack of them, and I was like, someday I'll read them and like get my shit together. And I was like, or because I'm, you know, a showman, I could record myself doing it.
Why don't I monetize it?
Right. Like, let's put myself on display while I do this and see what happens. And I have a history of like not making the best choices. You know, I identify with Jerry Blank, where like sometimes when an adult decision is proposed, like I do the wrong thing. So I also thought like, it's gotta help a little, right?
Did you find that they help?
I mean, for the most part, no.
Okay.
I mean, there are some good books out there written by, you know, actual doctors who have expertise, and a lot of them say the same stuff, you know, like try to be optimistic and appreciate what you have, like, but acknowledge what's shitty. And like, if you're actually struggling with like real depression, like obviously see an expert.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
like,
if this advice doesn't help, seriously ask someone.
right. And it's like, it's all well and good, but a lot of self-help books, I've realized, are just written by people who become extremely obsessed with optimization in like one area of their life and decide they're experts and then decide they're going to sell that expertise. And there are times where an expert in a weirdly specific area of optimization will vibe with you, and that's awesome. But a lot of the times it won't, and like there's nothing wrong with you. It's just not your cup of tea. Just, getting up at 7 every day doesn't work for you.
Who didn't want a 4-day work week when
Right?
it was
We all
a
did.
4-hour work day? Like
Yeah.
a 4-hour body. Who wouldn't want that? They want an 8-minute ab, they want a 4-hour work week, et cetera, et cetera. Oddly, like as you're saying this, it feels like it would not have been actually out of step with the character of Jerry Blank for her to have like had an episode about Jerry writes a self-help book.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, for sure.
Jerry feels like that
Yeah.
combination of like, I lived a thing and I'm an authority and like, I'm here to tell you, kid, that it, like,
Yeah.
which I'm not condemning like the industry of like self-development literature, but it does, the fact that like I can very easily build a bridge to the personality of Jerry Blank.
Right.
And someone who would be like, I have the authority to write a book about how to make people's lives better.
Right.
I think is an interesting combination of thoughts to have at the same time.
It is, and I could see her doing it. Be like, this is what I learned from going back to high school at 46, like, and thinking she like cracked the code. She always thinks she has it figured out. Like, of course she would definitely consider writing a self-help book.
We get like one of her moral of the story moments. She's like, I'm still making like all the wrong choices, but I'm doing it the right way.
What does that mean? That sounds like self-help gibberish. Like,
At least I learned a valuable lesson. Tamala's, Megawati, I'm so sorry for betraying you, for betraying my daddy. I sold you out because I wanted friends that were more attractive and popular than you. But I've changed. Now I know that I shouldn't feel the way I so strongly still do. Ting! Hi, I'm Jerry Blank, and that was my story. Now, before you judge me, consider this. You're not so innocent yourself. I'm guessing you've done some pretty horrible things. Like the time you set that boat on fire and watched those Haitians panic. Oh, wait, that was me. The point is, you're a racist.
It really is like, it's like looking into a kind of, because again, it's not like character behavior is not endorsement, because it's like this upside down universe where like every motivation, like that almost every character who gets a fair shake on the show is doing it. Like when like Jerry goes to like an Al-Anon meeting, basically, she's like, I'm the stepchild of a drunk, and she goes because like the boy who she's playing a black woman in a Raisin in the Sun.
It's an all-white production.
An all-white production of Raisin in the Sun.
I used to watch the DVD commentary, and apparently they read in the paper about an all-white production, and so apparently it was real. Sorry, I digress.
Thank you for that tidbit, for that inline commentary. And the boy who's the star of the play is like, you should come with me to these meetings. And like the moral of the story from like that character is like, you know what? Sometimes things are so hard, you should just drink.
Yeah.
Like the moral of the story is like, go to Al-Anon, go to AA so you can judge people and their problems. And then when you're not at the meetings, listen, sometimes shit's so bad, you should drink.
Yeah, I believe her stepmom says it beautifully. I drink to kill the pain. And they're like, oh, okay.
Brava, Mrs. Blake, brava.
Oh, come on, you're not buying into this crap, are you?
Yes, because, you see, sometimes when life becomes too painful, it's better to just be a drunk. Drink?
I'd love one. I see. Sometimes it's better to be a happy, gin-soaked grape than an anguished raisin in the sun.
Cut, that's a wrap, everyone.
Did your parents know you watched Strangers with Candy, or was this a post-parents thing? Was this high school still, college?
They did, and the same thing happened to my mom that happened to me, where she was like, "What is this weird shit?" And then 2 minutes later, she's like, "Wait, show me the next one." And now she's quoting it. She quotes like the movie all the time, like, "This is nice family. You got the mommy, the daddy, the brother, the sister, and this guy."
I'm so glad it went that way.
This is nice family. You got the mommy and the daddy and the brother and the sister and this guy.
Just getting a roll.
You crossed my chow zone again. You're gonna pull back a bloody stump.
Sarah?
Jerry.
Mommy. Hey, Daddy, I signed up for the science fair today.
We don't speak with food in our mouths at this table.
I don't have any food in my mouth.
We'll put some in.
It's time for a break, but I'll be back with Jolenta, and we'll talk about what she's learned from years of reality television fandom and what it has to do with Jerry Blank. Then at the end, I will have one quick thing before I go about not a new movie, not an old movie either, but, a movie from a couple years back that didn't get its due, that popped up in front of me again on the internet this week. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about Birds of Prey at the end of the show and just give it a little extra love that it deserves. So stick around for that.
Hello, I'm Sierra Cotto, host of TV Chef Fantasy League, and I'm here with Max Fun Member of the Month, Dan Kotnick, who has been a Maximum Fun member since 2023.
Thank you very much.
As the Max Fun Member of the Month, Dan, you'll be getting a $25 gift card to the Maximum Fun store.
Cool.
And you get a special Member of the Month bumper sticker.
Yeah.
This is a huge one. You get a parking spot at Max Fun headquarters, HQ, in Los Angeles, California.
Sounds good.
Is there anything else you'd like to add as Member of the Month?
This is my opportunity to say thank you to everyone that is a part of Maximum Fun, because you guys have just created a media environment that clearly resonates with a lot of people. Being able to do that organically is really impressive, and I think that's the root of why I've been such a big supporter. And so I want to just thank you guys for committing to that goal.
It's for members like you, Dan, and you specifically are Member of the Month for a reason.
Thanks. Bye.
Become a Max Fun member now at MaximumFun.org/join.
We've been doing My Brother, Me for 15 years. And maybe you stopped listening for a while, maybe you never listened. And you're probably assuming 3 white guys talking for 15 years. I know where this has ended up. But no, you would be wrong. We're as shocked as you are that we have not fallen into some sort of horrific scandal or just turned into a big crypto thing.
Yeah.
You don't even really know how crypto works.
The only NFTs I'm into are naughty, funny things, which is what we talk about on My Brother, and Me.
We serve it up every Monday for you if you're listening, and if not, we just leave it out back until it goes rotten. So check it out on Maximum Fun or wherever you get your podcasts.
Where do you feel like learning what you've learned about people through yourself practicing, through at least the performance perhaps of self-help for the content, and interviewing people who write self-help literature, Countess Luann, and reality television, which is just a fascinating petri dish of the human condition. What gives you optimism about people that we can get ourselves on track? Or is there none to be found? Is it the more I learn, the more scared I am about people? Or the more I learn, the more I feel like I believe in us?
It's a bit of both. It's the more I learn, the more scared I am, but the more I realize we're all the same, just we're all just fucked up and weird and living out our own damage and trying to make it right. I also just feel like with all of these forms of media you've listed, what I like is I feel like we can learn a lot and enjoy sort of complex, juicy roles for women over 40. whether they're telling us like how to live or fighting over like how someone's mentioning their divorce or going back to high school at 46.
Mm-hmm. That was actually something I think the thing I enjoyed most about your conversation with the Countess, as she was like, people call me Luann. I don't call myself the Countess. She's like, I liked when she was like, people have more fun calling me the Countess than I have being called the Countess.
Right. Yeah.
And we do. Of course we do.
Yeah, it's the best.
I really appreciated what you said about, and it's true. We don't center stage older women, aging women in narrative media. Like that is still a rare pleasure to be able to see that.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality television, even if many of them are striving to look younger,
right?
That is one of the few places where I feel like there is a proliferate demographic of
right.
like
and you're
women,
allowed to have like a complex inner life, not just be about men. And like, it's unexpected to find it there, but it's there.
No, it was something I hadn't ever thought about with reality television of like, and obviously it's not every program, but like the nature of, and some of these shows, like they're on season 11, season 12, whatever, of Real Housewives of New York, like time's not going backwards. Like we started with these figures being mature women in their lives, and they're only getting older since the times we've met them. And the fact that they have been permitted to be renewed season after season and express that there is, even if it's because they're messy, whatever, that there is an appetite for these women getting older on screen to live their life. Like Sonia has had anything but a linear journey, as she has. Like
she's had lots of downs.
Lots of downs. There's such an interesting vulnerability to the lives of older women that we see in reality television. We don't get many other places, and that is that's a real virtue.
Right, and it's like where other than like Survivor and The Traitors are we gonna watch Parvati Shallow grow from being like a 20-year-old like femme fatale sex kitten to like a seasoned femme fatale sex kitten who can like annihilate other players, where it's like that's an interesting journey we don't often see highlighted, and you know, we can learn from it and be entertained by it.
Okay, I guess I will. My last question will be then something I wanted to ask earlier, but I'll get to it now, which is, you know, talking about like the Jerry Blank of high school being a bit of the feeling like a bit outside the mainstream, but then like talking about like teaching drama to kids is like a job that you had, and you know, perhaps a sense of performance about like I had all these self-help books. When did you come into, were you always somebody who liked to perform something or to be seen or to be on stage, or did that come later for you, and what did that come along with, that sense of like wanting to perform a thing for people?
I always wanted to be.
Okay.
I was just like one of those like annoying exhibitionist kids who's like, watch me do a show. I dressed up. Like, and I would stand on like the mantle place, not the mantle. I don't know. I would stand on like the fireplace,
like the brick raised
the
up
little
area.
raised part, and like do my show on a stage. So I just always loved, like the center of attention. I also think in a way it's probably to try to control my atmosphere and like what's going on around me. Like, hey, everyone calm down and shut up and watch me. Mm-hmm. But I've just always really enjoyed it.
Well, that's a fun thing about Jerry's character too. Is Jerry likes to be looked at. Jerry obviously wants to be popular, but like we watch, you know, her getting up in class and reading inappropriate like writing projects that she has read that Mr. Noblet has to like stop her and like tell her to stop talking about
Packing a Musket by Jerry Blank.
And that's such a treacherous place for a kid to be in particular, like the one who doesn't feel like they're really welcome necessarily there, but they really want to be seen.
But like also look
there.
at me. Yeah.
That's a really delicate. But like what I would say for my wrap up then, even though I've said that like 5 times, it's Lord of the Rings. We're gonna end it many times. Is how have you? What is the role of performance and feedback in your life now as somebody who does something like for their livelihood that is sort of dependent on this, but you're also an adult and theoretically with like a better handle on things than perhaps when you were like 16 and stuff. So what is the role that performance and feedback plays in your life now with your job?
I love feedback.
Okay.
I love feedback. I mean, when I do comedy, like what I love about it is it's instant feedback. You know right away whether or not something's working.
Mhm.
But I think I've had to learn to love it through also I went to acting school. Well, all you do is give feedback. So
Got it.
now I'm like, num, give me it. Tell me what I should change. It's just another form of attention.
My wife grew up doing it as a professional ballet dancer, and
Oh, wow.
that like tell me what I can do different, like tell me what I can change. That is so wired. It's so much more than a compliment. What can I change? What can I improve upon? Like what can I do better? That is really like what she seeks out predominantly from feedback. It's that kind of training, like really puts you on a kind of path. Well, gosh. Thanks for this meander. I mean, I have to stop at a certain point. Otherwise, I'm going to be like, listen, we're both paid talkers. I could just keep bringing stuff up.
Bring stuff up and bring it back to Jerry Blank. I'm down.
But thank you so much for coming on the show and taking the time and bringing this most fascinating case study of a character to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me and giving me an excuse to watch some Strangers with Candy.
Thank you for giving me the same. Thank you so much to Jolenta Greenberg. You can find her new podcast, Hot Masterpiece Theater, wherever you get your shows. They call it, quote, highbrow conversations about lowbrow TV, meaning she gets to flex both her wit and her Real Housewives expertise. And now that zag into our one quick thing before we go. I don't even remember what put Birds of Prey in front of me on Twitter this week, but it arrived there, and I just got to thinking, as I do every time, anytime Birds of Prey pops up on the internet again, about just, man, it really is like, do we need more franchises? No. But it is like, it's the one that got away for me. It is really the franchise I wish so badly we could have gotten a three-peat of Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn in her own movies. Great, love her as Harley otherwise, but in her own movies, following the tone and vision and aesthetic carved out by director Kathy Yan and writer Christina Hodson. It's just, God, it's a blast. It looks so good. It's so fun. It's great. It is great. It is one of the best superhero movies of the 21st century. That is not a lie. That is not exaggeration. It has some of the absolute best action of any of the superhero movies. Shouts out to the contributions of Chad Stahelski for that. The glitter gun, the escape from the police precinct, Harley finding herself in a cloud of cocaine that she breathes in and is therefore like juiced up to continue fighting enemies in a room that is being drenched by the overhead sprinkler system, creating an incredible aquatic balletic fight scene. The dynamic of her and with God, Journey Smollett. Come on. She was so good. Mary Elizabeth Winstead as the Huntress. The just awkward, neurodivergent caped crusader that she is. Chris Messina as just a lights out icky bad guy. Ewan McGregor having the time of his life. Rosie Perez in a shirt for a shockingly large a percentage of the movie that says, I shaved my balls for this. God, what we could have had, what we could have had for this movie that opened to literally I think 2 weeks before the COVID lockdowns. 2 weeks before the most intense, 2 weeks to stop the spread, all shut away inside, close down the NBA. My University of Oregon Ducks would have won the NCAA Women's Basketball College Championship under the leadership of Sabrina Ionescu. Anyway, I'm going off topic here, but man, Birds of Prey. Watch it, live it, learn it, love it, as another iconic diva once said. So yeah, get out there and get a suspicious bump of Birds of Prey viewing going on out there in America. There's still time to reclaim her. As we lead up to the Margot Robbie Wuthering Heights that's going to come out in a couple of weeks. But that is it. That is our show. You can keep up with us wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow us wherever you are listening to get every new episode in your feed as it drops, and you should do that. Subscribe. Follow us more. Follow us to find out more on Instagram at Feeling Seen Pod. We are also on Blue Sky, where you can search Feeling Seen or Jorcru, Jorcru, which is where you can also find me on Twitter. Our theme music is by Andrew Epen. Our producer is Marissa Flaxbart. Our senior producers are Kevin Ferguson and Laura Swisher, and this is a production of Maximum Fun.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows, supported directly by you.